Hey, I was going to do some other stuff today, but I actually just got my EME Partners newsletter a couple days ago. Now, this month's newsletter prize and partner prize is actually pretty good. You get a full Nightmare costume set. Now, these have been in the cash packages on their site and on the Steam page for pretty much since the game came out, so I don't really think there's too many people that actually want the avatars themselves. However, the Zenith costumes just came out last week, or a week or two ago. Actually, a bit longer than that if you consider their, their $20 loot boxes. So, ideally, the best thing to do with these is to upgrade them to 3 stars, and then just try to find whatever other random fodder you can find like this for that respective category, and try to get the Zenith pieces, because they're going for a lot right now. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never really cared for the whole MMO, whale, I spent $20,000 on this game aesthetic of, giant angel wings and stuff like that. I think it's always been incredibly stupid. But if you want to make some money, this is actually a good way to capitalize on that right now. So the cheapest Zenith weapon is Luna's at 85 million. And then a lot of the other characters, the more popular ones, are going for a lot more. So you can actually make quite a bit of money from this code that you'll get from me, especially if you already have some materials. If you already have some fodder costumes and you have some phase fibers, then that's probably the best thing to do with it. It does not come with anything else this month, so I would recommend only doing this if you're going to capitalize off it, like say, fuse some Zenith costumes together for yourself or to sell. I think the Cybernetics costume actually looks cool. I think the Zenith one just looks like generic, super whale MMO fodder. I don't really get the appeal, but money is money, so you can actually make a pretty decent amount doing this. You should also have some event synchro fibers as well. I think they've given out some of those this month. Either way, they're dirt cheap on the auction house, so that's probably the best thing to do. The way I'm going to do this is, since I have 2 codes, I'm going to ask you guys to just DM me on Discord or Twitter, whichever one is easier for you. Just DM me one of your characters or something, so I know that you'll actually use it or something. Like I said, I don't really expect anybody to really use these on the character themselves, because they're not really a commodity or anything. They're just kind of there. But having a full avatar set will save you a ton of money if you don't already have a bunch stockpiled, so you can use those to try to get Zenith pieces. So that's it for the, I guess you can call it an ad. I don't get paid for this or anything, but it is what they give me from my partnership. So I'm going to go ahead and run through my dailies on Harpy, just so there's a little bit of gameplay. I've been kind of burnt out on this game, honestly. The progression for the new gear is just like painfully slow. However, I'm kind of like at a dry period right now in terms of other games I'm playing, so I have still been logging on every day and doing the dailies as much as I can anyway. The thing about this game is, since they blow through content so quickly, we've caught up from like 2014 Korea to like I think we're at like maybe the middle of this year. Like, they've been updating this game at a lightning pace, so I think it's not always worth it to grind like crazy on every single character. I know some people that play this game for a really long time every day, and I've never really considered it to be worth it. With my J and stuff, part of it is the fatigue of just playing the game and dealing with the RNG for the purification stuff, but the other part is the resources. It's like, I don't really have the resources to buy a bunch of shape memory devices and level up all my stuff, so that's kind of been one reason why I haven't really bothered with him. I did make that attempt to get him a plus 14, but that pretty much crashed and burned, so I'm just focusing on Harvey for now. Like, I remember when the Super Gear came out, and people were like grinding crazy for that. And I just told myself, you know, I had already done that grind on the Korean version. There wasn't really any incentive for me to bother with that when I knew that the next patch would, or next several patches would basically power creep it and make it so it was not even necessary. So that's kind of how I am with Jay. I don't really know much about the Korean version past this point. I was not really on the Korean version past any of these updates, so the rest is going to be pretty new to me. I might go ahead and try Bai before she comes out, since she might be kind of the character that I like to play. There's actually the next character, I think her name is the Beast, also known as Seth, and she's basically just another generic anime garbage lolly, so I have zero interest in playing as her. But Bai looks pretty cool, so when Bai hits the US servers, I'll probably make one of her. Luna is totally not my style at all. I don't like the whole anime Captain America thing, so kind of backed out on that one. They also nerfed the 500 EMP bonus. You have to get her to level 67, which is still a pretty big time commitment. Like, even with the unlimited fatigue, it's still like several hours with a character you may not even care to play or take to a high level. Oops, I chose level 4. RIP. I'm not gonna bother with that. It's gonna take way too long. Alright, well that's one less drop I'll get today. That's fine. That's worthy of a reset. It takes way too long. I think that's the other problem too. Like, you can do the other levels of these, and you don't get more of the crafting item. You can basically get all of them just from playing on level 1. So even the people who have like really optimized characters, especially if they play alts, they just do it on level 1 to get it done in like a minute or 2 minutes per run. Which I think is a problem with the gearing in this. If you're gonna solo through the harder like contamination levels of this map, you should actually get rewarded for it. Really, the only thing you get is that every boss that dies will have a chance to drop something. But obviously, the crafting items are far more important and guaranteed. Now, I think this part of the game is kind of flawed, and a lot of that was because this was basically the filler arc before the 3rd season started on the Korean version, so we're kind of just getting the side effects of that. But it's kind of worse in some ways because there's going to be another power creep very soon. I see people complain about the update speed in this, and I have to wonder what those people are on, because they update really quickly. But a lot of that is because this game came out like 3 or 4 years after it was out in Korea, so there was a lot to catch up on. And they also started at like a really rudimentary part of the game. Like, they only had the Black Lambs, they didn't have a special agent for anybody. So a lot of the initial updates was stuff like that. But regardless, they're updating a lot faster. Luna just came out 2 weeks ago and they already gave her the special crew, so I think that's a pretty good sign that we'll get by in the near future. I think the Korean version has actually been slowing down quite a bit in terms of updates, so that also gives them some chance to catch up as well. I know they added like some new kind of gear. There's supposed to be like a 12-man raid or something, which I'm pretty sure I don't care for. I actually like that this game has very simple raids, and majority of them can either be soloed or just taken with randoms, cleared with randoms with very minimal effort. I don't like the DFO style where you have to be on at a certain time and it's just way more try-hard and everything. I've never really cared for that. I like playing action MMOs because I can consume most of the content by myself and I don't have to rely on other people or worry about doing something wrong. But I don't think they've actually shown anything of the new raids yet. I think the new update is supposed to be the new garbage lolly. I think even the Korean players are getting fed up with the fact that they keep adding lollies and harem-type characters to the game instead of more male characters. Kind of feels like something happened to like the original character designers or something, because this game had pretty unique character design. I mean, you have characters like Seiha and Yuri who aren't like particularly interesting, but Jay is one of the coolest designed like martial artists I've seen in any of these games. Now Harpy has a pretty unique design too, with her whole fighting style and everything. But then you have characters like Luna and Soma and the new Lolly that just like don't even look like they're from the same game. But I suppose those characters are what makes more money. Although, to be fair, they do have Tane in the game, and he was in the initial 5 characters in the Black Lambs, so I don't know if you can really say that they were all super great designs. I've always thought he's a pretty lame design. Alright, well, I missed one run today because I screwed up and I chose level 4 instead of level 1, but that's kind of the inherent issue with this whole like progression is it's faster to just do it on level 1. There's really no reason to bother doing it on the higher levels unless you have a really strong character, because it just makes things take longer. Now, I've still got a ways to go before I can get the next compound trinket. I haven't actually even been keeping tabs on it. I haven't really been playing that much. Yeah, I need 120, so probably by the end of this month I'll be able to get this one. And then I'll actually start getting some increases in power from it. But for now, after that is another 180. I think this is something they should have just like maybe went to the next build or something and just kind of reduced this, because it's a really soul-crushing grind. And, you know, coming from DFO and stuff, it is nice how all these things are guaranteed, and they're not just you're not completely at the mercy of RNG, but at the same time, it can't really speed things up either, so it can get pretty demoralizing. But hopefully, we'll get some kind of power creep or something when Season 3 comes out, which I imagine will be soon. I don't think they have a whole lot to update from Season 2 at this point. I think there's Nitocris, who's the raid boss you get the transcendable trinkets from, and then that's like basically it. So we'll probably get that soon. At that point, I'm sure they will relax the grinding. I'll actually patch up the Korean version and get back to you guys about that probably in the near future. Maybe sometime this week, since it's a pretty dry period. So I'm gonna go ahead and open my loot box. Maybe having this online, maybe recording it will actually give me something good. And then that will be it for today. Yeah, I got healing potions, which is like one of the worst possible things you can get next to pet food. Anyway, like I said, go ahead and contact me on Twitter or Discord. Just send me a screenshot of your character. You don't need to do anything fancy with Photoshop or anything. Just show me your character that you like to get the costumes on, or compound for Zenith costumes or something. Just go ahead and do that. I have 2 codes, so I'll give them out to the first 2 people. Thanks for watching. Peace.